As a small business owner, I'm sure you have social media. You have your Facebook, you have your TikTok, you have your Instagram, and I'm sure if you're like me, you're wondering, why the hell isn't anyone liking it or following it or connecting with me because of it? If that's a question you have and you want to learn how to utilize Instagram to create more business. This is the show for you. Welcome to the Key Hire Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harlock, creator of Key Hire Solutions, where we help small business with our talent. Before we dive into our show today with Tara Wagner, I just want to, while you're listening to this, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, hit the subscribe or the follow button. Help us spread the word and get some traction. We're trying to help small business owners, and we'll take any help we can get. Well, you have that handheld device in your hand and you're hitting follow. Just scroll down to the show notes and there's a button, a link there that says text us your ideas or thoughts. Let us know what you think of the show, or let us know if there's any subjects you'd like us to cover in the future. We're here to help you guys, and we're always interested in your feedback. The next link under that is a link to my LinkedIn profile. Hit that, hit connect, and I'll be happy to connect with you as well. All right. Today's show, we have Tara Wagner, and she is an accredited small business consultant helping tiny businesses create more profits than problems. Love it. Her breakthrough boss method mixes business, systems, and mindset so you can stop questioning your life choices at 2 a.m. or dancing on TikTok to find clients. Perfect. All right, Matt, let's welcome Tara to the show.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm excited to be here, Corey. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm great, and I appreciate you being here. You know, it's funny how you said dancing on TikTok for clients. I was at I'll just say an expo this morning. I checked it out because I thought, this might be a place for us to like get a booth or do something. And it was literally like people in their booths wearing red sequin pants, trying to get attention and get people to come in.
No.
And I told my EA, Stephanie, I said, I'm so glad we didn't invest in this because I would have killed someone by lunchtime. Like it was no good.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy. And those of us that want to run calmer businesses or just regular businesses, right? We just want to serve people and we just want to do regular work, and we don't want to have to go viral to do it. I see so many people falling for the trap of like, if you're not on social media, you're not relevant. If you're not going viral, you're not going to be successful. And it's just not true. The majority of businesses don't need social media. And certainly if they need it, they don't need to go viral on it. And yeah, I think it's become a hill I want to die on, because otherwise you kill yourself on social media. It's a full-time job by itself.
It is. And it's one of the things I probably spend the most time on with the least return.
Yeah, 100%. That is true for most businesses, unless you are an influencer or you have a particular niche where your audience really expects you to be on social and to have crazy, content going off all the time. The majority of businesses, you're not going to see the return on it. Not for the time you're putting into it.
What I know about small business owners, they don't spend a lot of time looking for viral trends on the internet.
Yeah.
They're like voyeurs at best. They maybe have one or two channels they check out. They scroll it, in the evenings when they got nothing else to do. They don't comment. They don't like. They don't share. They don't post.
We don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't even have the apps on my phone anymore. Like, I don't have time for that. Please don't distract me. I have other things to do.
I introduce you to my wife. She'll be very happy. She can get you to tell her to get me to do that. But when we first talked, you talked a bit about what caught my attention was you said you have an Instagram business card strategy, which sounds very cool. And our initial conversation, I thought, man, that's very cool. So walk us through, what is the Instagram business card strategy?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, it is not for every business, but it is for many businesses. Mm-hmm. I'm in a niche where I need to be making regular content per my audience's expectations. So what I'm doing on Instagram is not an example of this social media strategy.
Okay.
This social media strategy is for people who your audience is not finding you on Instagram. They're finding you in other places. And they're using Instagram to validate whether or not they're going to use your business. So for instance, they go to Yelp, they go to Google, they're searching, a local carpenter, they're searching a coffee shop, they're checking out your website, but they want to know a little bit more about you. So they go to social to validate, like, who is this person? Let me check out some more of their work. Let me get some more personality from them. We expect to see different things on social than we do on websites, right? We expect the website to be like the polished version and social media to be a little bit more real, we assume, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you don't need to create a post a day or 4 posts a day. You don't even need to create 2 a week in many cases, but you do need some content on there that when they come to that platform, whether it's Instagram, maybe it's other platforms as well. This could be applied to other platforms.
I'm old, so I use Facebook.
Facebook, it can be applied to.
The other old folks.
Yeah. So when people are going to those platforms, what do they need to know? What do they need to see? What are the questions in the back of their mind that they're not thinking about asking? For instance, I had a client who is a brick and mortar yoga studio, right? When she's creating content, when she's doing this strategy, she's thinking about what's going to make people feel comfortable to come to the studio for the first time. So what she does is she's familiarizing them with the parking lot, right? She has a reel of like driving up, passing the studio, going to the parking lot, walking around, opening up the door, right? It's a cute little reel, but what it's actually doing is addressing the buyer's question in the back of their mind of,
do they have parking? Is it safe? Is it dark? What part of town is it in?
Is it run down? Like, what does any of this look like, right?
I'm a huge proponent of that. Like when people go for job interviews, people laugh and I say, just knowing if there's parking and where to park, that's a source of anxiety for them amongst a million other things they have in their brain, right? So if you can just let them know, like, hey, when you pull up, there's lots of parking, just grab visitor's parking spot right in front of the door and you're good to go. And they're like, okay, that's one less thing I have to worry about.
It's just like if you go to a restaurant, most of us will go to the images. We want to see pictures of the restaurant, pictures of the food, pictures of the menu. Even though the menu's on the website, we want to see pictures of the menu. Right?
Yeah, you want to see what kind of chairs they have. Yeah, for sure. So believe it or not, where I get my hair cut, I was telling you about my hair earlier. I'm trying to grow it out. So I'm in this awkward stage. But the place I go to, it took me forever to get in there. Because it was a woman who was a single hairstylist and she posted all of her stuff on Instagram and she became Insta famous and she opened up this hair salon and it's lined up to get in there. Like a client has to leave for someone else to get in. Luckily I got in. And so I understand the power of Instagram because the place is just jammed all the time.
Yeah. 100%. And this is where I'm always like, does your business need to be on Instagram? Are your people going to Instagram to find you and or validate you? If they're going to validate you, you use the social media business card strategy. If they're going to find you, you may have to really learn some Instagram skills. But if you don't want to learn Instagram skills, you don't have to. There's other ways of building your business. There's other ways of marketing that can align with you, your strengths, your weaknesses, your time, your schedule, your team. So we really get to choose as business owners. I always tell my clients, rule number 1 is you make the rules. This is your business. That's what you got into business for. If you enjoy Instagram, if it comes easy to you, or you find it fun to gain the skills to use Instagram, have at it. If you're like me and you do not want to be on Instagram, you don't like the trolls, you don't like the distractions, you just don't like it. It's just not your thing. You don't have to be. And even myself, my business does need to be on Instagram. I see a huge difference if I'm not on Instagram. I still have a team doing that stuff for me. I don't scroll the app. I'm not, going through comments. Like my team is handling 99% of it. I'm just handling what content do I want to put on there today.
Awesome. So walk us through the framework of this Instagram business card strategy.
Yeah. So I have a free download for everybody. We'll put that in the show notes. So you guys can
we'll do it at the end. You got to wait till the end to get to. We're going to.
So What I'm going to go through is what is in that strategy. And the first thing I always tell people is please start with the end in mind. What is the next step that you want your ideal clients or customers to be taking? Right? So it's not just content for the sake of content. We're not going for viral views. It doesn't matter if 1 million people see it, if only 3 of them are your ideal client. We're really looking at what do we want our ideal clients to do? What are the offers? Maybe it's a lead magnet. Maybe they need to request a quote or get a proposal from you. If you understand and you sit down, and I know this sounds obvious, but a lot of times I'll have people start setting things up and they set it up based on good advice and not what's good for them. And so we really have to sit down and say, what do they want to know about? What do they need to know about? And what are the steps that we want them to take? Because everything we are creating is going to work in a cohesive environment, right? It's going to work together to lead people to those steps. So my yoga studio client, obviously she wants people to book a session, right? So everything is about answering any questions, concerns, or just leading them to booking a session with her. Right. So when you start with the end in mind, you're going to be more likely to actually end up there than if you just start throwing stuff together because it looks nice or you saw your competitors do it. So
and I think to drive that point home, I know a guy who does sales consulting. He said 90% of the time you're selling the next meeting.
Yes.
Right. You don't go from meeting someone to them paying full price for your product.
100%.
Right? So like you're saying, so this Instagram strategy sounds like it's like the first date.
Yes.
Right. So, it's coffee.
Yeah. So let's say you have to talk to people with sales calls, right? You're not going to start talking about what you're selling in the call yet, the pricing, all of that. Right. The only thing you're doing is selling the call. What is the benefit of them booking the call with you?
Correct. Yeah.
So that's all we're going to do.
Yeah. So this Instagram strategy is like the first meeting, a coffee date, right? So like you said, it's a download. It's like your download. I'm sure that's your first date or your coffee date, right? And then if they like that, then maybe they want to take it to the next step. It's like nurturing that relationship. So I'm glad you pointed that out. It's just like, this is the first step of however long your sales process is and how many touch points you need.
Exactly. Now, some businesses might have more than one touch point, and that's okay. Right. But we just need to understand, like, what is the goal? What are we using this for? Right. So I know a consultant who does a couple different big offers. They have all of those offers listed in their Instagram. When you go, you can check it all out. But that's because when they were starting with the end in mind, they understood that their audience, they're discriminatory buyers. They want to know what their options are. And so they were going to lay all of that out for them. But again, it's still only here's just the next step though. Here's the different offers, but the next step is right here.
Yeah.
So you can have a next step in different posts, but it's only one next step.
It's always the same one. Yeah. Like you have different. It
has to be the same one, but it is only one. So one CTA per post. You could potentially, depending on your business, have different posts with different CTAs.
CTAs, call to action.
Call to action.
Who don't know. Yeah. So that's your button or your link or your whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Instagram, we're not going to be doing buttons or links. In Instagram, generally speaking, it's going to be like DM me or check out the link in my bio or check out my highlights. With the highlights, you can have a link to something. So it's going to depend on what the strategy is. There is an app called ManyChat. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but it's very inexpensive. And if somebody comments a particular word underneath a post, that ManyChat will automatically send them a DM from you. So let's say they comment with mentor, right? If somebody comments on my thing with mentor, I have a DM that sends to them that asks them some questions because they're interested in mentoring. And so it starts the DM conversation for me automatically. So there are tools like that you can use, but you're not going to be using a URL or anything like that, or Instagram just doesn't like those things.
I've taken you wildly off track. So we started with step number one was, what do we want to accomplish? Start with the end in mind. Okay.
Yeah. The next steps are really about putting together your bio. So this is your name, your title, your category, Your bio is going to include, basically, it's like a little bit of a pitch. Like, here's what we do. Here's who we do it for. Here's what we help you avoid. Whatever your general pitch is, you can put it in your bio. I also recommend having a brag line in your bio. So like, what makes you stand apart from your competitors? It could be results that your clients get. It could be the number of jobs that you've done. It could be awards that you've gotten, anything that's going to help people see very quickly, right? So we only have a few characters for this. I think your bio, I don't even know, it's like a ridiculously low number of characters. So your brag line can only really be maybe 30 to 50 characters max. So you want to say like 4-time award winner, or, you know, whatever your bragging points might be. But I do want you to remember, what you want to brag on may not be what your audience cares about, right? So brag on things that they want to know. Like, they may not care if you've gotten any awards. They just want to know what are the results you're going to get them. Right. So be very, very careful with everything you do. Look at it through the lens of, my clients or customers, are they going to be impressed with this? Are they going to care about this? Like, why do they need to know this? Or do they believe they need to know this? Because you might think they need to know it. But if it's industry jargony type stuff, they don't care. They only care what's in it for them.
Yep. And I that resonates with me, because we get pitches from people to be on our podcast all the time. And it's like, I wrote a book and I've done this and I've scaled this all by the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's congratulations. That's great. But my audience doesn't care. They want, how can you help the small business owner?
Yeah. And right? I think the reason being is that we hear about those things all the time, even though they are pretty rare. They don't sound rare anymore. They don't sound.
No. And it was a strategy years ago, right? Like, how to position yourself and sell your story, and like, really, like back in the old days of online marketing, that was the strategy, to really position yourself at the top of the mountain. And it's just been, everyone's trying to do it now, and it's hollow.
It just sounds like noise.
Correct. Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Step 3.
Okay. So then we would get into, we can look at your highlights, or we can look at your posts. And I recommend, when people go through this actual strategy, I recommend they read through these first, because it's better to create these together as one cohesive kind of ecosystem than it is to just look at your highlights and just look at your posts. Now, highlights are basically stories that you've shared. So stories are things that expire in 24 hours. You post them, they can have a URL linked in it. And then if you want to, you can highlight that story. And that puts a little, you've got these little circles underneath your bio at the top, and you can put as many highlights as you want, or excuse me, as many stories as you want into a single highlight. So you could have a highlight of just client testimonials. You could have a highlight of just offers. You could have different highlights for different offers. And all of the content that's going to go in it is going to be different. What's great about these is that you can use the URL. So now we've got a real CTA. People can also DM you right from those stories. But a lot of times when people are going to check you out, right, they've already found you somewhere else. They're coming to validate, is this a business I want to work with or visit? They're going to, oftentimes they'll go to your highlights, because that's where kind of your main static content is. That's what people are expecting to look for. Okay. So they'll go in there, and this is where you can have something that's more like a sales page in a series of stories. So one highlight can have umpteen stories in it. I don't know if there's a limit yet. So you can literally walk people through an entire sales conversation just in one highlight.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you can get really strategic with this if you want to. At the minimum, get the things you know people are going to want to know, right? If a restaurant has a menu, get your menu in your highlights. If you've got a certain program, get your programs in your highlights, right? Just try to get your basics in there. I also recommend adding a little bit of personality, especially if you're a personal brand. But even if you're not a personal brand, if you have a team, right? I'm going to use the restaurant example again. If this is a team, have some personal highlights in there about different people on the team doing funny things, how you guys dressed up for Halloween, you know, somebody broke something, like whatever, like add some personality to it, because in today's day and age, what we're seeing is everything is looking and sounding like AI. Everybody is craving human connection. If you show up as a human or a team of humans, people are going to feel more bonded with you. Even if it's over silly stuff like, hey, you know, we're a Packers restaurant. If you don't like the Packers, you can't eat here, right? Just silly stuff like that you think would turn people off. It actually makes people want to come. They're going to come and they're going to like be wearing their Minnesota jerseys just to mess with you because it makes you human and it makes people want to connect.
Agreed. Okay.
After that, we start getting into your top posts. Now, the number of posts that you decide to do is 100% up to you. I recommend having at least 9. This is what's considered your traditional grid, but some people may want to do multiples of 9. What I like to do with this though, so that you are not constantly creating content, spend a day, spend a couple days if you need to, drag this out over a month. It doesn't matter. It's the only time you're going to have to do it. Figure out what content is going to best move people towards the call to action that you have, right? What do they need to know? What do they want to see? You know, how do they want to validate that you know what you're talking about? Whatever's relevant to your business, map that out in 9+ posts. Figure out the order in which you want them to go. And now we sit down and we create them all in a giant batch and we schedule them out. So now you're not having to show up over and over and over and try to, like, what am I posting today? And it's going to be random, right? If we've planned this all out, we can then post it on whatever schedule makes sense for our business. Maybe that's once a week. Maybe that's twice a week. Most people don't need to do more than 3 times a week. And when you get to the bottom of that list, what some people will do is take that bottom post off and repost it back to the top of the feed. If your audience does not go to you for new content, they do not care. They're not following you for new content. They're not trying to be entertained and educated. They're coming to you simply because they want to visit your yoga studio. They want to visit your coffee shop. Don't try to reinvent the wheel every time you've got to sit down to make content. Maybe if you want to, you can refresh it, but a lot of businesses don't even need to do that.
The other side of that is if you're not doing that and your last post was 4 years ago, people go, well, I don't even know if they're still in business.
Exactly.
So at least you're reposting that content, but it's current.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're in the same month or week or whatever here. So that's good.
Exactly. Now, if you do have a seasonal business, right, or the season should matter in your business in some way, again, I'm thinking of coffee shops and maybe they have a seasonal menu, things like that.
Iced latte, yeah.
Maybe you are creating these in 3-month batches and you're rotating them every 12 months. Okay. Or maybe you sit down and you just refresh and kind of spruce up and make some little tweaks to it and you create the next one. But make it simple on yourself, because again, if you do not need to go viral, right? If this is a part of your marketing plan, not the entire marketing plan, then you don't need likes and views. You just need people to come check you out and then take that next step.
Right. Okay.
And so it becomes very, very simple. But I do want to remind people, like, you do need some other type of marketing plan. If you don't have the rest of the marketing plan figured out, this isn't going to convert as well because you're not playing to the algorithm. You're not bringing in new leads.
Right. Yeah.
But that's really not the role or the job that you're trying to get it to do if your clients are not searching for you on Instagram.
Yeah, this is supplemental to
exactly
the master plan.
Exactly. It's supporting the main source of marketing. It's not trying to be the main source of marketing. And it's the biggest thing, the most important thing is that it is easing up the time and energy that you have to put into marketing. I work with solopreneurs or people with tiny teams, meaning they have usually under 9 people on their team. Often it's like 3, right? They don't have time to try to go viral on Instagram. I don't have time to try to go viral on Instagram. I don't know very many people who want to go viral on Instagram. So unless it's your thing, let's free up that time and that bandwidth so you could be doing more profitable things.
Okay. Are there any other steps we're missing, Tara?
The only other thing that I would say is if you have a bunch of old posts, clean them up, right? Go through, just see if there's anything there that doesn't belong there. Maybe your Instagram used to be personal Instagram. Maybe there's some stuff that's just outdated. There's offers you're not, offering anymore. You don't have to clean everything up. Like if there's old retired offers, you can leave that. But just consider, is there anything here that would detract from what I want my audience to do?
Right. The expression, a confused mind says no. So if you have stuff on there that is like, well, this is, okay, never mind. And on we go, right?
A confused mind or a mind that suddenly doesn't like you or doesn't trust you because they see a picture on there and it's like, why did we just get political? Or Why
Correct.
am I looking at a picture of your feet?
Right.
Like random things like that can just be taken down so that the entire feed, even if they scroll past your updated, sales funnel type feed, it's not going to detract them from what they want
Right.
to know. They
Okay.
know when they get further down, like, oh, this is old content.
Cool. What mistakes, and I'm sure you just mentioned two, political views and fetishes, probably should stay off your LinkedIn or your Instagram. What other mistakes have you seen people make when they try to implement similar strategies to this?
Well, I will say political views are okay if it's part of your brand,
If it's part of your brand, yeah.
right? That's totally fine. Other mistakes, boosting posts. Boosting posts is actually, Instagram swears they don't do this, but I have talked to people in every industry and every size of accounts, like number of followers, and they all say the same thing. If you boost a post, your organic reach drops. Now, this may not be a big issue for businesses who are not trying to get organic reach, but if you are trying to get organic reach, I would not boost posts. I would create ads, but make them separate from your posts.
Okay.
That's the strategy we've done. We have separate ads, and even having separate ads, because Facebook or Meta, who owns Instagram, because they know that we put money behind ads, our reach is abysmal, and it shouldn't be. We've had experts look at it, and they will all say the same thing. It's your ads. Your ads are going to drain from your organic. It doesn't matter to us because our ads are our bread and butter. That's what makes the most sense. Our content is just there to support people who find us from the ads. They come, check me out. Who's this crazy lady? I don't know who this is. Does she know what she's talking about? Oh, cool, she does. Whether or not they engage anymore, it doesn't matter because they've probably already gotten onto my email list from that ad.
So the moral of that story is, if you're using Facebook and Instagram as your primary driver through paid ads, don't expect great organic reach.
Yes.
If you're not using paid ads, then you will have better organic reach.
You should have better organic reach. It will still depend on content.
Yeah, people are just finding your Instagram or Facebook through a search, and then they're like, well, let's see if they have an online presence. That shouldn't matter. So, okay, that's cool.
Exactly.
What other mistakes have you seen?
Listening to the Instagram gurus and influencers instead of business owners.
Yeah.
You're a business, you're not an influencer. What works for an influencer is attention grabbing, right? Because it's going to work for the general public. You're only going to get 1 million views if you have something generic that is not really going to draw in your ideal clients. And you see this all the time with local businesses. They'll do something funny and it'll go viral because it's funny, but it's going viral all over the world while they have this little brick and mortar company. Maybe that brings them in some business, but nothing near what other strategies would bring in. They would do better to just do some Google ads, do some Yelp ads, do some Facebook ads, than try to get those viral views. The only thing that gets those views is creating content for the algorithm. And the algorithm is going to favor things that grab attention, which means it's weird, it's crazy, it's controversial. Anything that's going to make a human being stop and be like, what did I just watch? Or laugh or something like that. Those are the things that are going to grab views, but they don't grab clients and customers.
Right.
And so we have to be very careful to not fall into that trap of dancing on TikTok because
bring that up in your bio.
Some Instagram influencer is trying to sell you an Instagram course, which it may be good for some people. I'm not saying it's not. If you're really into it, go for it. But the majority of businesses do not get the same results as content creators get.
Agreed. And the other thing about that is when they do it, it often comes off as cringy and it might go viral for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, this is true.
Right? Because you're not that comfortable. You haven't been living in front of the camera for the last 5 years, recording everything you do. So you come up with this really, what you think is funny, hilarious, contrived situation or moment. And then it goes out and how many times have you been through and you're like, oh, no good.
Exactly.
Then you become a meme and that's not good.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a big proponent in like, look, business is hard enough. There's enough things for us to do. Make it easy on yourself. Find a marketing avenue that is not going to burn you out and that does not require you to be on the app all the time. A lot of those apps are designed even for creators to be spending so much time on the app.
Yeah. And even to go back, I think one of the mistakes you talked about early was like trying to do everything, trying to make the final sale on your Instagram page.
Yeah. It happens. I'm not saying there aren't businesses that are not making sales.
I bought stuff off Facebook through an ad and then but you got to be in the right mindset.
That ad is usually taking you to a sales page or a sales funnel.
Or
the majority of money being made is actually not on the apps. It's directing people into the funnels.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
So you're not going to like make, if you're selling, like you said, yoga classes, I don't know, you're going to want to poke around a bit and get a little, you're not just going to go, oh, this looks nice, I'll buy 10 sessions. You're you're going to dig around, you're going to look at reviews, you're going to go to the website, like you said, look at pictures, these videos of, hey, here's my studio, here's what it looks like, here's a class. All these things that make me go, oh yeah, I feel like I could fit in there. I feel like I would be comfortable.
Yep.
It looks like a nice place. And
I will say this, of the people who are making sales on Instagram, 97% of it is happening in the DMs. So if nothing else, because it's a sales conversation, right? So instead of a phone call or, toe to toe with somebody, you're just texting back and forth with them.
Right.
Nothing else. If your post can lead to a DM conversation, then that DM conversation, you're answering questions, you're asking questions, you're building rapport. That can actually lead to sales, or it can at least lead that person to book a call or to call the business for a quote or, whatever the next step might be.
But the things you're buying off these ads are low dollar value.
Potentially. Sometimes they're not. If they're not, there's more steps involved.
Correct. Right? Yeah, like a low dollar, $19.99 and it's $19.99. It looks cool. And I like, yeah, buy it. Whatever.
Right.
It looks cool. Right. I'll give it a whirl for $20. Big deal.
Right.
But if it's $199.99, I'm probably just not going to click through and buy it.
Potentially, but it depends. So what the ads are trying to do is target people who are already looking for it. Facebook's really good about knowing what you're already shopping for.
Facebook used to know you're ready to buy a new car before you did.
Exactly. Yeah. So Facebook is generally showing those high ticket ads to people who are already in the market. And now they're like, ooh, I was looking for this. Here's this new business. I've bought expensive stuff from ads before. A lot of times, though, the higher the price point, the more touch is needed to sell it. And so then you'll have an ad that is a lead form, or it's a book a call funnel, or it's a webinar funnel, or it's something that is adding additional steps. So the ads can still be extremely profitable and sell very high ticket. I have clients that have gone from 0 to a 25K sale from a cold ad in like 3 days of a email funnel to a book a call, and then they're closed on the call. But they're targeting people who are already in the market for that 25K offer, right? Yeah. Or ideal clients for that 25K offer, even if they didn't know it existed yet.
Right.
And so it's all about the targeting. And that's where, we let the algorithm be really smart for us. And this is why for so many people, I'm like, look, unless you really insist on content, can we build your business without it? Because there are just faster ways to do it.
Right. Okay. So I'm listening to this. I'm thinking, okay, this sounds like a cool strategy, something I'd like to give a whirl. Other than we're going to give your ebook here, your download. We'll give the address for that in a second. But if they didn't want to get the download, what are the first steps they should take?
Just what we went through. Start with the end in mind. Optimize your bio through the lens of your ideal client and what they need to see. Optimize your highlights and your posts that are going to address their questions, help them move into the next step you want them to take. Really, what I would say the very next step is block off some time to sit down and plan it all out, because that is the hardest part, is just mapping it all out. Once it's done, it is done.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Tara. So that's awesome. So people are listening and they're thinking, okay, I want this. I want to talk to Tara, or I want to get her download. How do we do either of those?
Yeah, the website for the download, and this is a free download. It has the entire strategy, lots of what we talked about in detail, examples, the whole 9 yards. The URL is xotara.us. social biz card, all one word, no spaces. You can grab it for free. It's yours to keep. It is literally, I could charge. I've told people, or people have told me I could charge for this. It's really super helpful, and it's going to free up a lot of your time. So
Very
definitely
cool.
grab that. And then if you want to, you can DM me on Instagram at Tara Wagner. We're there.
Cool. Where's Matt? Where are you? At Tara Wagner. Dun, dun, dun. There he is.
Go.
Sleep at the wheel. Cool. Hey, this has been a fun conversation. Thanks so much. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been our pleasure. Thanks so much. All right, there you go. Tara Wagner with her Instagram business card strategy. Super cool stuff. Just a reminder, if you're listening, like, subscribe, follow, share, help us spread the word so we can get these shows out to more small business owners. Send us a text or a note. Let us know what your thoughts are on the show or topics you'd like us to cover. We always love to hear from our listeners. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'm Corey Harlock. I've been your host today, Corey Harlock from Key Hire. And until next time, stop grinding, start growing.